benefits with investing in real estate, okay? With the stock market, there's mostly just one. First off, someone pays you to own it, okay? You collect a rent check each month. If you have $1 million in real estate right now in your nest egg, you're gonna be collecting more than $40,000 a month in rent. Doesn't matter if the property goes up in value or down in value, you're gonna collect rent. Okay, so one benefit is someone pays you for you to own that asset. Second thing is, like in the stock market, it appreciates. Okay, over time, the stock market has gone up. Over time, the real estate market has gone up. Values have gone up. Okay, so if you're taking a look at a property right now, if you could purchase it for $200,000 and you held on to it for 30 years, I'm not sure if you can see that number there, what would that be? Expectation. At a 4% appreciation, which is a historical average, it'd be worth $600,000. Many people I talk to say, oh, it'll never be there. I remember in 2008 talking to so many people that said, oh, the market crashed, it'll never get back to where it was in 05, in 09, in 010. They kept saying, it'll never get back to 2006 values, 05 values. Guess what happened? Over time, it's there, okay? Properties appreciate over time. But what happened is we saw a huge blip. It went up astronomically, then it dropped, but guess what it came back and did? This is what happens in the real estate. It's not market. It's not just a constant line of 4%, but we do see ups and downs. The positive is, in retirement, when you're trying to draw out income, it doesn't matter. You're not pulling the property, you're not having to sell the property because, like the last slide showed, you're getting paid. That's the part that you care about. You're getting those checks coming in. This right here is bonus. Okay, so that's benefit number 2. Those are the things that most people look at. I'm going to share with you 3 other benefits of real estate. The third one is you get to leverage other people's money. Okay, so if you want to buy a property for $200,000, how much money do you need? $200,000. If you have $200,000, yes, you need $200,000, but it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. If it's in the stock market and you want to buy a stock for $1,000, how much do you have to spend? $1,000. You can't get a loan to buy a stock, but with real estate, you can utilize other people's money. So banks will loan up to 80% or more to be able to allow you to purchase real estate. So when you leverage other people's money, this is what it looks like. Instead of just having this property, whoops, wrong button. So you buy this property at $200,000, instead of just seeing that increase like we saw in the previous slide, this is the amount that was loaned to you. Okay, so you come up with this difference. But guess what happens over time? It disappears. The amount that you owe somebody else, if you hold onto that property and you hold it long term, the amount that you owe to the bank goes down until after that 25, 30 years, you don't owe anything. And now, let's say that you put $20,000 into it, $40,000, 20% down, let's say. You put $40,000 into that, your $40,000 is now worth $600 after 30 years, instead of saying you had to put in $200,000 to get that $600. So your return on investment climbs astronomically when you utilize other people's money. That make sense, everybody? Fourth benefit I'm going to show you is you can actually buy a property for less than what it's worth. How many of you have ever heard of somebody buying a stock for less than its value? It doesn't happen. If you want to buy a stock for $200 a share, how much do you pay for it? $200. And you say, oh, I got this bargain. You could get a bargain because the value is going to go up on that stock. It could go up or down, but it's speculation. It's not something where you say, this is the value right here, and I'm going to pay less. But in real estate, it happens all the time. You could buy a property that's worth $200,000 and find a seller who has to sell and move out of state desperately. and they'll take 190. Doesn't mean that it's not worth 200,000, just means that you got a great deal. So you can go into it with equity, you can purchase something for less than what its true value is, or something in distress that possibly needed some fix-ups. You can add that value into buying the property. So another one of those things that most people don't talk about, but it's a benefit of owning real estate. Last benefit I'm going to show you is you can depreciate a property. So the tax laws show that you can actually depreciate a property out over 27 and a half years. Again, I'm not a tax attorney, but I do know that you can depreciate it for 27 and a half years. So if you take a look at a property that's 200,000, how much, that's a house, how much is the land worth? How much is the house worth? Let's just say, for example, the house is worth 150,000. If you divide 150,000 by 27 and a half, that equals 5,500. $5,500 each year you can use as a tax deduction. Okay, so if you're in a 24% tax bracket, that's $1,300 a year that you'd save in actual taxes that you would have spent. So again, who wouldn't like an extra $100 a month for nothing? Just for saying, I own a property. So if you add all those different benefits in there, it's not just 4% a year in appreciation. It's also, you're collecting rent checks. You can use other people's money. You can buy it for less than what it's worth. And the government says, oh, and thank you for owning that. We're going to give you a tax deduction. Okay? So there are a lot of different benefits that you can get through owning properties. And it's not just something where you look at it and you say, oh, real estate, it averages 4% appreciation. That's not great. But after it's all said and done, you're looking at minimum 7 to 10% return on your investment every year. Okay, and that can grow over time. Again, if you take a look at this, I'm not advocating that you should buy a property and sell it the next year. If you buy a property or properties and you hold on to those over the long term, it's going to go up in value. And what many people say is, oh, you know what, property values are high right now. I don't want to buy right now. Well, you know, if you want to time the market, unfortunately, I bought properties in 2006 and I lost money in 2006 because I didn't hold on to them. Because I decided, oh, you know what, it went down in value, I need to sell now. But those properties that I bought in 2006, I look at their values now, it's worth more. And if I had just held on to them and kept collecting rent checks, I'd be in a great situation, even better than I am now. And so you live and you learn, but if you buy at the peak of a market, it doesn't really matter in real estate as long as you have positive cash flow. So one thing that I always recommend with clients when you're looking at purchasing an investment property, you have to make sure that you have the cash flow. Unfortunately, when I was buying in 2006, I was saying, oh, you know what, it doesn't matter if I have a couple $100 a month that I have to pay in addition to what the tenants are paying because it was so speculative. And that's why I said, I gotta sell this. I can't afford $200 a month for a property that's worth $50,000 less than I paid for it. But if you're getting positive cash flow, who cares? You keep getting more money each month. And all that matters is when you sell that. And as long as you don't sell it, you keep collecting rent checks, you keep getting the appreciation, and you keep depreciating the property, paying less in taxes. It's a pretty good deal. So I'm going to go through a simplified investing strategy. Many people say, well, what should I invest in? How should I do that? How could I actually pull that money aside, that $5,000 to, or $500 to $1,000 each month? What would I do with it? I'm going to give you a simple strategy, 2 steps, so that you could apply it if you like. If you don't want to, you don't have to. These are things that I've utilized for my own personal self, my personal investing, and many people have done the same and got great benefit from it. Okay, so, sorry. First step, make sure that you are living within your means. I don't think that anybody should be a great investor or should be investing their money if they can't pay their monthly bills. So I'm not gonna go into that portion of things, but it doesn't matter if you make $1 million a year or $100,000 a year or $10,000 a year. If you're spending more than you make, you're not gonna be a good investor. Just make sure you spend less than what you make. So that's simplified principle first. So the first step is to make a max contribution to a Roth IRA every year. Right now it's $5,500 per person, or for a married couple, it's $11,000 each year that you can contribute, okay? The Roth IRA, what's the difference between that and a traditional IRA?
It's tax-free, well, the earnings are post-tax dollars.
Post-tax dollars, that's right. So if you put your money into a Roth IRA, you've already paid the taxes on it, that $11,000, let's say. You've already paid the taxes, you're now investing that, and all of the growth is tax-free. Okay, so the growth, if it's, investing $200,000 in a house up front, and you get $600,000, that's $400,000 difference. That 400 is, and all of that, the 600 is completely tax-free. Okay, so, most people recommend the Roth. Most financial advisors will say do it in a Roth if you can invest that way. But in this case, what would you put it into? A simple way to do that, I'm not gonna recommend you to use any which instrument, but one where you have zero fees. Remember how I said if the stock market makes 10% and your money manager makes 3, you only get 7? One simple way to avoid that is just to invest in the stock market as a whole. Fidelity has a 0 total market index fund where you're just investing in the entire stock market, and they collect 0 fees total. So whatever the stock market does, you get that. You can invest in that. That's one option. There is risk to it, but if you're just putting your money in there, you can see the stock market grows and get benefit from it. Then once you've saved up 35% of a property value, you can actually utilize your IRA funds to purchase real estate. Many people aren't aware of this, but the IRAs, you can have a self-directed IRA like I do, and you can buy a property with your retirement funds, okay? So if you get 35% saved, First Bank is a local bank, they're out of Colorado, but there's several branches here, they will lend you 65% of whatever the property value is. So you can utilize that. It'll take about 5 to 6 years if you are putting $11,000 in there each year to build that up, and you could buy a $200,000 rent house. Okay? If you want to know about how to set up a self-directed IRA, VantageIRAs.com is a company here locally in North Phoenix. That's all they deal with, is just self-directed IRAs. Okay? So that's actually the company that I have my self-directed IRA through. I don't get any benefit for saying that, but just sharing. Okay, so the first step again, you save up that money, you invest it, then you're gonna reinvest the rental income that you're collecting and continue to put that $11,000 each year towards your Roth IRA. And once you've accumulated again another 35%, you buy another rent house. Okay, so as soon as you just get enough money, you just keep investing and reinvesting, okay? After 10 years of following that simple plan, again, $11,000 a year, you'd have a total of $110,000 invested of your own money. But it would give you an expected return of $185,000, okay? Just at the conservative 4% appreciation rates, rental rates going up 3% each year, that'd be $75,000 in free money. And you'd have one property 10 years into it. 15 years into it, you'd have invested $165,000, and you'd have an expected return of $430,000 of value of equity in those properties, and you'd actually own 2 rent houses. Okay? Again, everybody following? If I'm going too fast and this doesn't make any sense, just stop me.
That's equity, you said, right?
This is equity, yes. So it's not the value of the properties, because the properties would be worth more than that after 15 years.
And you're getting equity from paying the rent money back into paying off the rest.
You're getting additional money that you're reinvesting, because yes, the rent money that's coming in, you're putting in there, but also, if you look at the value of the properties, they're going up over time. So that first property that you purchased for 200,000 is probably worth now 280,000. And so your difference of what's owed on it and what it's worth is gonna go up, that equity.
But you were saying you take the difference of what they're paying you in rent and you put that back in your IRA to save towards a 35% down.
Correct, instead of just paying
You're
down,
not paying down the house, you're working
Correct.
on your IRA, you're 35%.
because you're looking long-term. You're just saying, okay, this is a long-term thing, so it's gonna be paid down each month, your mortgage, but you're gonna take the additional money and you're just gonna reinvest it so that you can get another rent house. Good questions.
You just save that money in the account, you just.
Just put that right back into, whether it's that Fidelity total, market account, just something there, so it just keeps getting, additional compound interest to grow, and once you have enough, reinvest it. Yeah. What does it look like after 20 years? You've invested $220,000 with $11,000 each year, but your value is gonna be closer to $900,000, okay? $680,000 of that is free money, and that's tax-free money because it's from a Roth IRA. And you own 3 cash flowing properties.
And you can only, if you have a house that you have a loan on, you can only reinvest the portion of the rent that you're not paying out in payments. And
Correct. And this is calculating, these numbers here are calculating that maybe you're at $50 a month, $100 a month in extra cash flow from those rent houses because you're having to pay that mortgage. So this isn't saying, you're full cash, but you're paying down your mortgage with your mortgage payment, and then anything extra you're reinvesting.
30-year mortgages.
You can do, yes, this is with a 30-year mortgage thought process, but you could do it with a 15-year, 20-year, whatever the term is that you feel comfortable with. But again, number one thing is make sure that you are cash flowing.
How often do you cash flow if you have like a 15-year? I mean, can you charge more rent than your mortgage cost?
There are actually investments out there right now that do cash flow with 15-year loans. Again, this is, with these scenarios right here, you, if you're using your Roth IRA and using a self-directed IRA, it has to be, for First Bank to loan it to you, they require 35% down. So if you have 35% down, you're only getting a 65% loan, and you have that at 15-year, it's gonna be a lot closer to a 20 or a 30-year loan at 15% down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your cash flow does go down because on a 15-year loan, your payment's gonna be higher, but you're also putting a higher amount down as a down payment into it. So, but it's not a strange anomaly to find something that is cash flowing in today's marketplace. Because although real estate prices have been appreciating significantly over the last 10 years, rental rates have gone up astronomically over the last 5 years. I mean, the house, those are renting or laughing. The house that used to rent for $1,000, it used to be like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you had $1,000 a month. That was pretty typical, a common occurrence. Now that 3-bedroom, 2-bath house is renting for $1,800 a month. And it's just the difference of about 5-6 years, how those rental rates have gone up. And what is that a reflection of? It's just supply and demand. That's all it is. That's what it is with the prices of properties, the appreciation, you get the value, supply and demand. What is it with rental prices? Supply and demand.
Is there a consensus if it's better to do it on a 15 or 30? Being able to get it done in 15 and then the extra income that would come from having a paid off property versus 30 and a better cash flow maybe?
It just depends on each situation. So everybody's gonna have a different situation. Some people I might recommend a 30 because maybe they're in their 20s and they're saying, I wanna be able to ensure that I have some cash flow, but my retirement is 30 years away or more. And so it might make sense for a 30. But somebody else might be in their fifties and saying, I wanna retire